can't believe this is happening. The states are completely ignoring the constitutional precedent set in Roe v. Wade.
I know, right? States can't contradict federal law and Supreme Court rulings like this.
Yeah, this just boils down to states' rights.
What even are states' rights? Why won't the liberals let me do whatever I want? Why do they have to keep on witch hunting me?
Letting states contradict federal law is just going to cause a constitutional crisis. Do you know anything about U.S. history?
Well, basically, there's founding fathers and Reagan and Hamilton was pretty cool. So,
Mr. Trump, you can't let this happen. If you don't understand why you can't let this happen, the only way is if I show you. Come with me.
You're going to embark on a quest through time and space. There is no way we are signing over our autonomy and rights as states. What's to say we're not just creating another tyrannical government?
We cannot continue to govern our nation under the weak and ineffective Articles of Confederation. We can't allow another embarrassment like Shays' Rebellion. The states and the federal government have to work together.
This debate led to the inclusion of the Bill of Rights into the U.S. Constitution, which was ratified in 1789. The Anti-Federalists only ratified the U.S. Constitution on the condition that they added a Bill of Rights to protect state governments from federal abuse of power.
well, how important is a Bill of Rights? Because the haters and the losers don't deserve rights.
And we can thank the Bill of Rights for the Constitution that protects us today from federal abuses of power.
Well, why does the federal government get to make laws that the states don't agree to?
Well, actually, in the last amendment in the Bill of Rights does outline that all power is not expressly delegated to the federal government by the Constitution. Those powers are all allowed to the states. Well, the last amendment in the Bill of Rights outlines that states are privileged to all powers not expressly delegated to the federal government by the Constitution. So states do have certain powers.
So then the states don't have to do anything the government says in case closed, and I won. So yeah.
However, the Supremacy Clause in the Constitution outlines that the federal government has the power to override any state legislature that defies federal law or constitutional precedents.
Well, I don't know what any of those words mean, so you're wrong.
This is why we are taking you on a blast to the past.
We agree to the tariff of abomination. Nullify or we're leaving.
Tell that to my army.
Alright, can't beat your army, but we still feel like our rights have been violated.
Almost 3 decades before the start of the Civil War, South Carolina tried to secede under Jackson due to tax increases, most notably known as the Tariff of Abominations. They were crushed by the federal military, but the resentment did not fade, and it carried out until the Civil War, as South Carolina was the first southern state to secede. The Civil War was caused by the debate over whether or not states' governments had the right to make decisions, like whether or not slavery should be legal or not. The first state, South Carolina, was inspired to secede because of the compact theory.
Does that mean compact as in like small?
Like, no. Compact is in like an agreement. Since the states and the federal government made a compact or an agreement on how they would work together to be a country. So
Okay.
basically, states feel that the federal government can't make big decisions that affect states without the state's approval or agreement.
I agree.
Okay. When the Republican Lincoln got elected as president, the southern slave states panicked and felt that their institution of slavery was about to be dissolved.
So basically, what you're telling me is the war could have easily been prevented if we protected the states' rights.
Like, it's not that simple. The North felt just as strongly about abolition of slavery as the South did about supporting slavery. So the South knew that the only way they were going to be able to secure slavery in a Republican-dominated government is to secede and create their own autonomous nation.
That's crazy.
Truly.
But wait, hold up. I thought that Republicans didn't like black people. Am I in the wrong party? This is fucking communist.
General Grant, this is not a revolution, it's an insurgency. The South is still a part of the Union, regardless of their bogus ordinance of secession.
But Mr. President, what can we do to weaken the South?
I shall issue the Emancipation Proclamation. The South is still a part of the Union, so they'll lose their slaves, and without their slaves and their workforce, they won't last much longer.
Go. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, freeing all slaves held in rebellious states.
Ah, that's when Lincoln ended slavery, right?
No. The Emancipation Proclamation only ended slavery in the Confederacy, leaving slavery in Union states legal. It wasn't until the 13th Amendment, after the end of the Civil War, that all slavery was outlawed nationwide. The Emancipation Proclamation marked a change in the Civil War as it boosted morale among the North as they were fighting for a just cause, and weakened the Confederacy as they lost their workforce. Now, we're gonna go learn about the New Deal in the 1930s. That's the right thing. One.
We must relieve the poor of their struggles and limit the power of enormous corporations and help the U.S. economy to recover. So because of that, I'm implementing the Glass-Steagall Act, the Social Security Act, and many more to ensure that the U.S. economy remains stable for years to come.
But how come that cripple gets to tell everybody what to do?
Well, FDR is trying to solve the problem in a way that almost everyone agrees with. He has the public support, and he's doing it by asserting the federal government's power over states and private industry.
Well, whenever I try to pass executive orders, everybody gets mad at me.
No one likes you. FDR was a very popular president. He led the nation through two of the worst crises in American history. All you do is golf. Now, let's go visit another president who led the nation through a financial crisis. Reagan.
Well, most people, when they think about cutting government spending, they think in terms of eliminating necessary programs or some service that the government's supposed to perform. I believe that there's enough extravagance and fat in government.
Fox News told me to like that guy.
This is a heartless approach to the working families of our country, and is typical of many Republican leaders in the past, but I think this has been accentuated under Governor Reagan.
Do you now understand the importance between the balance of state and federal power?
Nope.
Great. Well, if you didn't learn from the past, maybe you can learn from the future. The future of what your bad decisions and lack of executive responsibility have caused.
Will cause. Fuck my
You'll
bad.
see. Do you see what you have caused? What your decisions have wrought? Because you let states strip women of their constitutional rights.
Wait, no.